Welcome to webinar number 3. This is about the basics of Google Docs. We're going to do an intermediate class next year and then an advanced class in the third year of Panel 58. But this one is just about the basics. So I'm going to go over now to my account. I'm going to show you how to open a new document. And the easiest way, I should say, is through the Google Apps, the Apps Launcher. This is the little box of 9 squares here. And this will probably be in the right-hand corner next to your profile pic, whether you're in your inbox for your mail or your regular account. It's usually in the right-hand side. I'm going to click on that. And there's Google Docs, the one we're going to be talking about today. And this can be moved if you use Google Docs a lot. You can move it to the top, wherever you want, so it's easier for you to access. I'm going to leave it right where it was, because I like it there. So the easiest way to create a Google Doc is to click on that once. And it's going to give us a few options here. Start a new document, and I'll choose the one that's the blank document. And we'll be getting into the templates a little bit later. I'm going to click on Start a New Document. I'm going to just start typing in here, webinar. There we go. It's a little slow on the uptake, but webinar number 3, Google Docs basics. And I think I'm going to increase the zoom here so it reads a little better on the screen. And so one of the things we're going to cover is how to open a new document. And there's actually 4 ways that we'll be covering. And we'll talk about saving a document. And we'll talk about creating a PDF. I get that question a lot as far as people turning in their reports. And then we'll be talking about closing a document. So one of the first ways that we've already talked about is from the Apps Launcher, just by clicking on the icon, the Google Docs icon. But there's a second way. And whereas this way is what I consider the easiest way, the second way is my favorite way, and that is from the New button, and I'll be showing you that in Google Drive. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive. And this is what I meant by the New button. It's right here. It's sort of got a big rainbow colored plus signal, or plus sign, I should say. And the reason I'm going to click on that is because it opens up more options for me. And my favorite way to create a new document is to first create a new folder, because this is good management, file management skills. So we're going to call this webinar number 3. Docs Basics. So I'm going to create that new folder. And I've got my drive in list view. I'm going to go back to just looking at my drive here. I've got my drive in list view, so there's the folder right there showing up at the top, because anything modified recently appears at the top. You might have a different view, and that might be if you're over here in the top right. I have a chance to switch this over to grid view. And I used to be in grid view, but for me, I think you can sort of get these truncated icon images, and I prefer list view, so it's just a toggle button over here just to go back and forth between the two. So it's whatever your preference is. So there's the folder. I'm going to open this up by double clicking. And the nice thing about this is if I now create a new document from the New button, I go down here to Google Docs, and there's a little right kind of caret or arrow. And once I click on that, it expands over to blank document or from a template. So I'm going to create blank document. And what it's doing is it's automatically putting this document into that folder for webinar number 3 that we just created. So it automatically knows, and we'll say things to cover in webinar number 3. And one quick tip I'm going to give you real quick. You see I've got 2 untitled documents here because I haven't named them. An easy way to name a document is type in whatever your first sentence is that you want to also be the title, and you can go over here in the untitled document field and just click once, and it'll automatically import that, whatever that first line is of your document. So in this case, I do want this document to be called this. So it's a easy, quick, kind of quick tip there to help you name files. And I'm going to jump over to untitled document and do the same for that. So this is my first sentence, and that's fine that that's going to be the name of the document. So I'm going to click once, and boom, it puts it in there right away. All right, so I'm going to close out of this document real quick, the things to cover in webinar number 3, just because I wanted to show you that if I go back to the drive, there's that document inside this folder, which is exactly where I wanted it. So that's why I like creating a new document within a folder. I create the folder first. I'll go to folder here, create the folder, whatever it is, and then I'll come back to that, open that folder, go back to the new button, and then I'll create the document and do the little arrow and go back to blank document. The other option is if you're already in this folder and you want to create more documents in here, you can just put your cursor anywhere in this blank space and right click on your mouse, and then it'll bring up the same menu items or menu list as that new button, and you can create here as well. And we're going to call this document to be deleted. So I'll show you how to delete documents as well. So we're not really going to put anything much in this document, just to be deleted. It really doesn't matter if I spell it correctly or not, because it's going to be deleted. And we'll click once, open the title, and it'll take that title. And you'll notice it's saving. You get a little thing here. It says every change you make is automatically saved in Drive. Last edit was seconds ago. So even though I'm creating this document real quick, and I've already named it to be deleted, and I'm going to close out of it up here at the top with this little X up here. You can see it's already saved, and it's saved automatically. I don't have to hit Control S or Command S for save, like in Microsoft Word, or probably any other documents, because this is all cloud-based, so it's saving every second. And sometimes it'll give you those messages up at the top that I was pointing out, that this document's been saved, it's been saved, it's been saved. So I know for me, I had a fear where I wasn't hitting Control S. I wasn't constantly saving the document. And I kind of had to get out of that fear, because it really is, Google Docs is really saving it for me behind the scenes. So we'll go back to our recap. Actually, we'll go back to our recap document here. We created a new folder. Create new folder. And then new document. So that's my favorite version right there. Give that a couple stars there. So the third way is that we've already shown you that while in the new folder that you created, right click and choose new document. All right, so the fourth way to create one is while you're in the document. And this is my least favorite way. I'm going to type in least favorite. And I'll show you why. So we'll say right now that we are here in this Google Docs, the basics, which we already know is in our webinar number 3 folder. However, if we go up to File, and then we choose New, and then Document is the first thing that pops up on this list. If we choose Document here, it does not know where to save this particular folder. I'm sorry, particular file, this document. So I'm going to call this one, where is this document? And I'm going to just click once here for that to be the title. And I always close up here. The reason I close up here is because if I try to close out by actually logging out of my account, that would log me out of everything, out of my email, out of maybe any Google Slides thing I was working on, or Google Drive, or even a video conference call. It would log me out of everything, my whole account. So if I close the document up here, it only closes that one document, and I'm still in my account, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm going to go back to webinar number 3. This is our folder that we created. And you'll notice that one we just created called Where is this document? It's not in my folder. So that's why it's my least favorite way to create it, because I have to actually go back to my regular Drive folder, and I have to kind of do a manual search for it, or I could just click into the search Drive field, and I can have it search all the text documents, because we know for sure it was a text document. So this narrows our search already. It kind of puts a filter on it. And there it is. It says, where is this document? So I'm going to open that up. I want to show you a neat feature here where we can move it into the webinar number 3 folder. And it should pop up any minute here. After everything loads, it'll give us a little folder. There it is, Move To. And I'll click on that. And we wait for it to figure out all the different folders I've got. So I'm going to go down and choose, I believe these are all alphabetically arranged. So I'm going to go back to webinar. There we go, webinar number 3. That's the basics. I'm going to move this document into that folder. So that's a nice little feature there. And it says webinar number 3, or where's this document, has been moved to my drive, from my drive to webinar 3 Docs Basics. So that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to close that. All right, and we're going to go back to our original document here. And so that was the 4th way to save a document. You can do it from the File menu. I'm going to clarify that from the File menu while in the document. All right, and then we zoom in on this a little bit more. All right, so we talked about saving. And saving, again, you don't have to save. Google will do it for you from behind the scenes every second. If you're offline, it will still save everything offline until you are back up onto either a Wi-Fi network, or you have internet signal for it to sync up to. Then it will resync and everything will be saved. So I'm going to say even offline. I was working on a 4-page document on a plane, and I was really nervous. I thought, oh man, it had a little notice that said all your changes will be synced when you're back up to internet signal or something. I forget what it said, but I thought, well, I really hope so, because I'm typing in 4 pages, and sure enough, it did. So it even saved when it was offline. I didn't have to do anything. Let's talk about creating a PDF. And we can do this right from here. The best way I know how is to go up to your File menu and choose Download As. It gives you a lot of different options here. Obviously, if somebody doesn't want it as a PDF, which is the 4th choice down, Microsoft Word is probably the other option that the person would want. The PDF is ideally what you would use if you're sending a report to me for like an AWC website posting that I need to post. So here it is. It says it's going to save it in my same title .pdf, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to hit save, and it says downloads complete, show in folder. So I'll take a quick look at that just to make sure everything's there, and there it is, and I'll open it up. And PDF stands for Portable Document Format. And the nice thing is about this is that while I can look at it, I can't make any changes to it, which is exactly what we need for the website. PDF is a way to think of it as a locked document. And so I'm going to close out of that PDF, but that's how easy it is. Just go to File, Download As, and PDF. If you wanted to send it to somebody and maybe they didn't have Google Docs, they just have Microsoft Word, you could send it to them as Microsoft Word, and then they can still edit it though. So that's a big difference. PDF means they won't be able to edit it, they just view it. And then Microsoft Word, they can still make changes to your document. So that's something to consider. All right, and closing, we talked about closing the document, just basically hitting this X up here at the tab, and we'll do that right now, because we're going to look at something else here. Oh, we had it open twice, and even if you have it open twice, that's fine. It still saves all your changes in the drive. Last edit was made 3 minutes ago, it says. So what I want to do, though, let's see if I can hit this back arrow. Oh, it takes us back to regular Google Docs. Okay. Well, what I'd like to do is actually go back to my drive. So I'm here in my drive, and I'm going to go back to the folder for Webinar 3 Docs. So one of the things I wanted to cover was how to delete a document. We already called one to be deleted. So I'm going to show you, you want to check in this area here. It's blank right now, but once we click once on this document and it turns like this blue highlighted bar, you'll see these options pop up, and there's a trash can that says remove. We can just click that button once, or again, my favorite is to be over in the document and right click on this, not in the document, but in this highlighted bar. And then all the way at the bottom is the trash can for remove. And I just want to point out, it doesn't say delete. It only says remove, because this is sort of a 2-step process. It actually just takes it and removes it from the folder and puts it over into the trash can. So it's still searchable. If you're looking for a particular document by a certain title, it'll say, oh, you have one title that matches this in your trash. Do you want to remove it out of the trash and put it back into your drive? So I won't click on it now because there's information in there that'll pop up. But I just wanted to let you know that clicking on it once and right-clicking and removing does not delete it permanently. It purely just sends it to the trash. And then from the trash, you'll need to open that up, open the trash, and right-click on it, select it, right-click on it again, and choose delete forever. And to open a document, all you have to do is double-click, and that will double-click kind of quickly, like click, and that will open your document, or open an existing document, I should say, as opposed to the 4 ways we went over to open a new document. So I wanted to type in a few things here, and let me zoom in on this again so you can see. So things to cover here. We're going to talk pretty soon, in a few minutes here, about basic editing. And we'll say navigation, some more helpful tips, and sharing and collaborating. So we always do that. Collaborating. Okay. I'm trying to spell that incorrectly on purpose, because one of the things I want to show you is there is a spell check feature, and a quick way to get to it is if you have misspelled something or Google Docs thinks you have misspelled something, it will do the little wavy underline red marking. So it caught these two words as being misspelled. But you can click anywhere in the word that's misspelled and right click, and then it says, did you mean navigation? So if you got pretty close to spelling the word correctly, but it was still incorrect, it'll try to guess what you meant. And the nice thing is, if this is a word, say that maybe I misspell a lot and I can never get correct, I can have it choose always correct to navigation. The other option I have is I can add this misspelled word to a dictionary. And you might be wondering, well, why do that? Why add a misspelled word? Well, sometimes it might not be a misspelled word. Like I was trying to type in the word Alateen, and it did not recognize that word. I knew it was correct. It was not misspelled. So I actually added Alateen to my personal dictionary. And again, this is not a global dictionary. It's just your personal one on your account. So then anytime I type in the word Alateen, it now knows it's spelled correctly, and it doesn't have to give me a little red squiggly line notice. Or I can choose to ignore it completely and leave it as misspelled if I want. In this case, I'm going to say, yes, I meant navigation with the I in the middle. So I'm going to click the correct word navigation, and it automatically corrects it, which is kind of nice. So the other place, though, for spell check, say if you finish your whole document and you just want the whole thing spell checked, go up to Tools, and there's a thing for spelling. And if you go all the way to the right, there's spell check. So we'll do that. We'll ask it to spell check, and there it highlights collaborating in bright, let's call that maybe a coral pink looking color. And it gives us choices up here as to what we want to do. We can automatically hit change this word to the correct spelling, and then we have ignore or add to dictionary. So the only difference here when we spell check the whole document, as opposed to just one word, it doesn't allow us to give that one word the option to always correct to that word. So we're going to say yes, we'll say change to the correct spelling, and there you go, and the red squiggly line goes away. So it's up in Tools where you want to spell check your whole document, under spelling and then spell check. All right, so let's talk about some formatting. So let's say this is going to be my title, and I'm going to say, let's talk about these buttons up here in this upper bar or menu bar. I want to have it centered in the middle of the document, and these are my alignment buttons if I want it all onto the left, which it usually defaults to automatically. You can have it default to, or have it go to the right, but I don't want that. Or you can have it justified, which means it's sort of like a newspaper column. It'll fill all the way to the left and all the way to the right. But center align, this is the one I want. So I'm going to choose center. And let's just go crazy here with a whole bunch of stuff. Let's say we're going to change the font to, instead of Arial, we're going to do Titan 1. And actually, I'm going to still zoom in on this so you can see a little clearer. There we go. All right. So I've changed the font, and the key to changing anything is to highlight it first. Whatever you want to be affected, highlight it first. and then go make your changes. Like we'll make the font size large, we'll make that 24. And let's say we're going to hit the bold button, and we'll do italics, and we'll even do maybe underline, and well, let's even change the color here. Let's keep going. We'll change the color to any color you want. We'll do red. Let's see. Let's start making changes down here. So I'm going to highlight this, basic editing and navigation, and I'm going to say I want that highlighted yellow, like a regular yellow highlighter. I usually choose either between this bright yellow or the bright blue, or I guess cyan is what it's called, because it just really stands out in a document. And let's say for this one, I'm going to change the font again. Let's say freckle face, whatever that is. Well, that's kind of cute. And one of the things I like is a painter tool. So if I highlight all this, say if I wanted the helpful tips line and sharing and collaborating line to have all of this, the freckle face font, and I want the yellow highlight, but I don't want to go through all those steps for those next two lines, I can highlight the line that I want, or all the formatting in that line, and I can go to this paint format tool, this little button, and if I click on that, and then I highlight the other lines I want to be affected, and I let go, then everything is now just like that. So it's kind of a quick way to affect your formatting for everything else. And if we say, well, we don't want any of that, let's highlight all of that and remove the formatting. We'll go over here to clear formatting. And once we click on that, it all goes back to the way it was. So let's put some bullet points in this. We've already got it highlighted. Again, the tip is to always highlight before you make changes. Let's just do a regular bulleted list. This is just the basics that we're talking about. In the advanced class, we'll get more into the number list options. But for now, we'll do bulleted. And we'll say maybe we increase the indent, have it more away from the left-hand side. And so that's just a couple of formatting tools. It's really helpful just to use all these shortcuts up here rather than going here to the format menu. Let's see. Oh, I want to talk about inserting links. So let me go down here. I'm going to backspace, and I want to go back to decrease that indent for that line, back to the far left. Okay, let me scroll up a little bit. So let's say if you're in your report and you want to have somebody say refer to maybe the website's panel 58 meetings page. One nice thing is if you want to have all this text be a hyperlink that goes directly to the particular page this is referring to on the website, you can do that by inserting a link here by clicking this button that sort of looks like a chain link, and we'll click on that once. So there's the text. It's just confirming with us that's the text we want, and that's correct because that's what we highlighted. And now for link, we can actually go over to the website, which I already have up and ready to go. And this website address here is what we want that text to reference. So we just highlight it with our cursor, and we can right click and then choose copy. And we'll go back to our document where our cursor is blinking and it's waiting for a website link. And I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to choose paste. So now I don't have to worry if I've got the website address correct or not, because it's kind of a long one, which is why I chose it, because all I did was right-click copy and right-click paste. So we'll choose apply. And the nice thing is, once this is turned into a PDF, once they get to this section, they'll be able to hover over it. It'll turn into a hand that will automatically take them to that website, or the web page, I should say, this particular page, when they click on it. So that's kind of a nice thing for inserting links. Another thing that I like to use a lot is the find feature, and that's just Control F. And once I click Control F on my keyboard, this pops up. It says find in document with a blinking cursor waiting for me to type something in. And I'm going to type in the ampersand. And the reason why is because I typically will just kind of unknowingly use ampersand and the spelled out A and D interchangeably. And I think, well, for consistency, I should probably have it one way or the other. So if I do the Control F and I have it look for the ampersand, it'll highlight anywhere in my document that the ampersand is appearing. But the better thing is I can hit these three little dots for more options, and I can say find and replace. It automatically brings up to find and replace, and I'll say, well, anywhere there's an ampersand, I want it replaced with the full spelling of and I'm going to choose replace all. And then I'll close out of this, and you'll see it changed it to and. So now anytime I have the word and, it'll all be the same and not switching back and forth. And I really like doing that. It's, like I said, so helpful for a lot of things. And if you need to find that find and replace, it's under the edit menu down here under find and replace. And they're showing you as Control H for this find and replace feature. But if you just want to do find only, and like it's Control F. So say if you wanted to find out maybe how many times in your document use the word and, boom, there will show you 2 of 2, and it'll toggle back and forth when you click these up and down arrows to each one. And it makes more sense on a larger document, but very helpful for finding any term in your document. One of the last things I'll show you here as far as formatting is the help menu. You can go, if you're ever stuck, you can go to this docs help, and say if it was like that find and replace, you could type in find and replace and search for that, and it'll bring up documents about how to use it, where to find it. There we go. And what it'll do. Even stuff in the spreadsheet as opposed to a Google Docs. So this feature is really helpful if you're in a bind. If you just need specific help, I would say try searching for whatever it is in here in this little box. And again, that's just under the help menu here under Docs Help. All right, there was something else I wanted to show you. I want to go to that template gallery. So let me go back to my drive with the apps and Google Docs here. I just want to talk a moment about templates. We've showed you how to start one from a new blank document, but there's something here that everybody has called the template gallery. I'm going to click on that in general. And there's all different types to choose from. Education. I think the one I was looking at earlier was just a letter, because it's been forever since I've been in high school, and how do you even type up a regular letter anymore nowadays? And here you go. This is a template. Obviously, we can change out all the Latin text. It's just a placeholder for whatever you want, but it's got the formatting, and of course you'd probably want to rename it for maybe today's date or whatever it is. And then so that's really helpful under templates. I'm going to go back to the drive as well because I wanted to show you one more thing about templates. This is something I just noticed recently. And template gallery. So there's a lot under general, but there's something here that says NFA AFG Inc. that pertains to us. And I'm just going to choose this one. These are templates. If you're ever requested to fill one of these out, if you have to make a recommendation to assembly for whatever it is, maybe a motion was passed, I'm going to actually go to file, and I'm going to choose make a copy just to be safe. And already the document copy says copy of template, and it's going to be saved under my drive, and I'll say OK. That way I can make some changes to this. But yeah, if I didn't realize that was there, but if you ever need to make changes to make a recommendation to assembly, like we'll buy bookmarks. This is, the chairperson says, okay, you fill out your recommendation form. You can find it there under the templates for NFA AFG. So I thought that was kind of neat. So I'm going to close out of that, and we'll close out of that one too. All right, so we'll go back to things to cover. So let's talk now about sharing and collaborating, and we can do it from this document here. There's a blue button up to the right near the profile pic that says share. Right now it says private to only me, and I'm going to click on that so I can share it with others right here. And my tip for this, a helpful tip, is to not start entering names here, but instead go to the advanced word that is clickable on the bottom right. And here I could choose where to enter people's names. So I'm going to add you in so you can make changes to the document. And I can click on here to add a message. And I'll say, here's the document you can make changes to. The other tip is I usually like to check this box for send a copy to myself. I think that's really helpful because then I know it's gone through because a copy will come in my email inbox. And say if for some reason they didn't get it, then I can always go to my email inbox and just forward them that email, and it works the same. And the other thing I do is I usually will click prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. And once you click that, it says you have made changes you need to save. So I'm going to hit the blue button for save changes. All right, and it's just a little more privacy there, that the document's only between myself and the other people that I invite. And the other thing is I can choose for the people that I'm inviting what type of permission they have by clicking this little sort of like pen looking thing or pencil. The down little arrow opens up an option for can edit, can comment, or can view. And if I'm collaborating like on a task force, I'll make sure all the people can edit. But if it's something where I just don't want them to make changes to, then I would probably just choose can view. And we'll get into comments more on the and assigning tasks in the intermediate class. So we'll go back here. We'll say yes, we want this person to be able to edit. And I guess it lost my box clicked here, so I'm going to click send a copy to myself. And we'll hit send. And then we need to hit done. And here we can have one last check here to see the permissions everybody has. And it says you've got permission to edit, which is great. But if we wanted to change it, we can change it here. And these other options we'll get into as well in the intermediate class. But so for now, we're just going to hit done. And hopefully you can go to your email. I know my email already came through. I heard it buzz through. So once you've shared a file with someone, they'll get an email, and the email will say the title of the document. For this example, it was just webinar test invitation to edit. But in their email, if they open it up, they'll be able to see so-and-so has invited you to edit the following document, the document called webinar test. And it says, here's a file you can edit, and then click on this. This is just an image right now, but to show you what the email would look like. But in the email, click on the blue button that says open in docs, and it'll take you right into the document to make changes. And if you're able to get into the document, great. And then type in your questions. Or actually, we'll do questions and then question mark. And I'm time stamping this because there's something else I want to show you. I'll be looking up here. I'll be able to see once you're in this document, there'll be a little circular image, I think, with the first initial of your name that'll pop up. There we go. There it is. So I see you're in the document. You can go ahead and start typing anywhere. Oh, I see, yep, you're popping up with a pink cursor. No questions! What? Those are currently just being sent by email, and I could resend you the email, but I always try to type the subject line as AFG webinar number 1, and then whatever the topic is. So it should be in your email inbox, and if it's not there, I'll be happy to re-email the link. Yeah, we still have time, so I want to cover just a few more things here. The reason I timestamp this is because there's an actual feature that, you know how everything is saved, all changes saved to drive, that if you're ever at a point where you say, oh, I wish I could go back to that document before we did the questions, there's a way. And I've only time-stamped it here just as an example, because you go up to the File menu. Halfway down, there's something called Version History. And I haven't had to use Name Current Version yet, but what I usually go to is See Version History. So I'm going to click on that. And here to the far right, it shows all the changes that have been made. And I'm going to click on this arrow that says, when I hover over it, it says Expand Detailed Versions. I'm going to click on that because I'm looking for the one that was timestamped 2:45, because that's exactly when I put that time in there. Because if everything works out right, when I open up this version, and I'm going to go to More Actions, these 3 little vertical dots here, it brings up this version that has no questions on it. So there you go, that's the one I want. And what I can do is, I personally don't use this restore this version. I will go back to these 3 dots, and as I'm bringing it up, I will just say make a copy. And you can see here it's naming it already as copy of. So I'm going to say, thanks to covering webinar number 3 before questions. And it was very nice. Google Docs is so nice. It added in here the version that I'm restoring. Now I can keep this in the title if I want, if I think I'm going to have multiple versions that I need to reference. But I think for me, just saying before questions, I'll know which version that is. I'm going to do that. Delete all that off and just leave it as before questions. And I can see already it's going to go into the correct folder for webinar number 3, which is what I want. And if I wanted, I could even click here at this point to share it with the same people. All the same permissions would exist. So they would have 2 versions then. So in this case, I'm not going to do it so you don't have a second version, but I'm going to say okay. So at least I know, and it's opening this automatically for me because it thinks I want to work on it right now. But you can see I've got this one up, and I still have my older version up with the questions. If I go back to this, there we go. So I haven't lost anything. There's the one with the questions and my version before questions. So the other thing I thought I would add, let me go back to, I'm going to close this one out and go back into the shared document. And I'm going to put the zoom back to 100%. I want to show you if we had multiple pages, and I'm going to scroll down here to create, there we go, so it jumps down to a second page. How to insert footers that say page 1 of 2 or 2 of 2. So I'm going to be on the first page and go under the insert menu. And about 3/4 of the way down, this says header and page number. And I want it down at the bottom, so I'm going to choose the footer. And I'm going to go back up. I see my footer's already been put there. And I'm going to go back to the insert menu, back to header and page number. And now I'm going to choose where my page number is going to be. And I prefer to have it down at the bottom. These two choices up here will put the page numbers at the top, as shown in these images. I like them at the bottom. This will put a page number on each page, as shown here. This option will put the page number starting on the second page. So that's pretty good if you want maybe your like a document cover only, maybe a big picture or something on the first page, a splash page, and you don't want it ruined by having a page number on it. You could choose this option. But mostly 90% of the time I'll choose this one where the page numbers are on each page. So I'm going to hit that, and then I'm going to do space, and I'm going to physically type in the word of and space. I'll go back to insert, back to my header and page number option. Now, instead of page number, I actually want page count. So once I click that, it will automatically know how many pages my document has. And I just want to make sure I type in the word page, manually type that in. I'm going to highlight it all, and I'm going to center align it so it looks really nice. So now that page count it'll keep up. So if I scroll down and I create multiple pages, you can see it's already keeping up. Page 3 of 4, 4 of 4. So really, you don't have to do anything more than that. It does all the work for you, and I really like that feature. It helps for large documents if I'm able to see right away how many pages there are. Or if you're in a meeting and somebody has a printout and they're wondering what page you guys on, there you go. It'll print them out for you. The other thing, I know we talked up here about the moving a file into a different folder using this move to icon. But to the left of it, you can almost barely see it, but there's a star. And if you click on it, then this puts it into a starred part of your drive. And I usually like to use this if it's a very important document that I absolutely know I have to find right away. So I'm going to go over to my drive, and there's right down here underneath recent is starred, and I can go to that, and there it is, things to cover in webinar number 3. So I know that that's where I can always find it, and I can open it from here, and just like a regular document. Say, for example, you can do this for a task force document that you need to go into all the time. But say the task force is done and it's over, you don't need it in that starred section anymore. So you can actually click it again, and it will go from filled in yellow to just blank again. So it will not be in that starred section. It goes away. So that's to me, I think that's really helpful. And for the longest time, I didn't even see it was there because it's not filled in until you click it and then it turns yellow. But that's what that does. That's the star feature, and pretty nifty feature that I really like. So maybe it'll be something that helps you too. So let me go back to the top here of this document. That covers everything I was going to talk about for the basics. If there's anything at all after this webinar that you have a question about, you can always email me, and I'll get back to you with either screenshots to show you how to get through it, or maybe we'll do a video call to get through it. But that covers everything for the basics. So I'm really glad we got through everything within the 1 hour mark. So now we can go on with the rest of our lives.